Hey yo, it's Vondo. And I got some good news when it comes to NBA 2K23 because I've been holding off on this video because I was waiting for anything to come out, and we finally had some releases about gameplay, trailers, and whatnot. And there's actually some good information because I was a lot more pessimistic in my first take of this video. I thought there was going to be pie charts again for the third year, and that's not the case. And there has been, a positive reception of that. They're going to be using the same build that Next Gen's been using for the last couple of years, which I think is pretty good, by the way. I just think it's funny how you had folks, that weren't playing on Next, because I was playing on both. While I was waiting for everyone to make that transition to the next generation of consoles, they were saying, oh, it wasn't good because your builds could do everything. But now that it was announced that they're going to be using this builder system, now it's all fun and games, it's all good. Which is weird to me, first of all, because a lot of y'all see your favorite game was 2K16, 2K15, and your builds could do everything in those games. So I don't know why that would be a problem now, but it's whatever. Let's talk about the actual good news in this gameplay releases and these reports, and we'll get into it. So the first thing to make clear is that do not think there's not going to be any cheese at all in these games that's going to be completely balanced. That is never the case. It is never the case. I mean, it's the most balanced for the first couple of weeks because folks don't have their badges all the way grinded out. They don't have all the animations, don't have all the attributes, and they're just using new characters and on a new game in general. But don't think there's not going to be any cheese at all, because one thing I'm hearing is that, or they're going to reduce the speed boosting because they're going to have, those adrenaline boosts. You only have 3 per possession, and after you use all 3, your speed's going to drastically decrease. Why that can be true, I'm not going to bank on it too much, because one, there's going to be Gatorade boosts, you're going to have gym rats, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be a way to get more of those adrenaline boosts so you can speed boost more in a possession. I'm pretty sure there is, and I'm not going to account for it being completely balanced, because again, in 2K20, the stamina system when it came to dribbling wasn't that good. It was not that good, but you had handles for days, and of course, you had some buffs on stamina, and you still had to spam dribble moves. So don't think that these little perks or changes are going to make, a huge dramatic difference. I think they will make a difference. I think they will definitely help reduce some of the cheese, but it's not going to be cheese free. That's part of 2K. That's part of the skill gap in this game, honestly. If you ask me what the skill gap in 2K is, it's learning how to time your jump shot and then learning how to execute and circumvent whatever cheese is popular that year. That's all it is. So do not think that it's going to be completely balanced. It's not going to be any cheese at all. You're deluding yourself with that. Let's get into some of these other gameplay changes that are pretty good. I'm going to go with the first one, because even though I like shooting the ball a lot, they have removed sniper. Now, I don't think this is going to be as big as a deal as people are making it right now, because one, shots that haven't been green have always gone in. Now, they have gone in at a higher rate this year, but also that's partially due to the fact they want to encourage more open shots, and open shots going at a higher rate. I originally thought they were going to just rework this badge like they did in 2K21, because it was based off shot aiming, but unfortunately you had the issue with Zens in 21, so they removed the timing this year. But I guess it was a bit too effective. But honestly, if you still have decent timing and a high enough rating, you should be fine. I think this is a quality change, proper move. I can see where they're coming from originally, but I think they'll be fine when it comes to this change. A change that I absolutely adore, though, is the fact that real player percentage will not be a viable option in online game modes, and why this could have been intended as an option for players that were inconsistent with their jump shot timing, that didn't have the best latency to be viable when it comes shooting the ball. Honestly, hate to break to you, if you're going to be lagging like that all the time, if you're just not that good at timing your shot, you should honestly stick to a build as to rely on precise timing to be consistent or effective, because with real player percentage you just had better players speed boosting and having great stats in my career, putting up 70 points in my career, going online with those great stats, and then they would speed boost to an open shot, and 9 times out of 10 they're gonna make it. So I'm glad it got removed. This also was an issue in some other online game modes, but I'm really glad it got removed for the park specifically, and I cannot be mad at it at all. It could have been intended to do well for players that weren't as consistent with their jump shot timing, that still had a decent rating. But if you're not going to be that good at timing your jump shot, and you're going to be wildly inconsistent, and you have bad latency, you probably just have to make a different build that doesn't have to rely on you timing your shot all the time to be effective. So it's a good change if you ask me. Now we're going to go over some badges that got removed, relocated, scrapped. I'm going to stick with shooting spot primarily during this game. The first badge that got scrapped or removed is Limitless Spot Up. They're reintroducing Limitless Range, the way it will work in 2K17, 18, and 19, and I like it. I like it because it's going to be able to stack with catch and shoot. Well, it should. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. And a badge that got removed to a different attribute is Mismatch Expert. It was a shooting badge this year. It's going to be a playmaking badge. It just makes a lot more sense because it's about you handling the ball and breaking down a smaller defender, or using a mismatch against a taller player and you're a shorter guard. So I like it. That makes a lot more logical sense. I think it's a good change. And a former playmaking badge that is now a shooting badge is a Space Credit for taking all those step back shots, step back threes. So we have a few playmaking badges that were removed. Bullet Passer, that's going to be tied into your pass accuracy rating. And Glue Hands, I'm going to assume it's going to be tied into pass accuracy rating of the passer. And if they have a good pass accuracy, you should get a good catch animation. Last but not least, you have Stop and Go being removed. I'm going to tie this in, and these are all assumptions, by the way, to the adrenaline boost and how you can only use it, a few times per possession, so being able to constantly use it in a possession. Now, while these are all educated guesses and assumptions and justification on why they removed these badges and how they should operate in the game, I am very confident this is how they're going to work. I am very confident this is how these badges can be able to work and interact with each other. There's some reason why they could justify removing something like Stop and Go by adding the adrenaline boost, or when it comes to, removing Bullet Passer. For slashing on next gen, the dunk meter is returning. I do not know they're going to include this on current gen. I don't know about that yet. But they are expanding the dunk meter. They're going to have some changes to it when it comes to you having more precision and control what type of dunks you're going to use when you're attacking the paint. You have up for two-hand dunks, right for your strong hand, left for your weak hand, down for a rim hang, up for a flashy two-hand, down up for a flashy one-hand, up down for a normal skill dunk with the dunk meter, and down with the rim hang skill dunk with the meter. So there's a lot more controls for the dunk meter, which is fine because sometimes when it comes to you using the dunk meter, you just don't know what type of animation you're going to throw out, because a cradle can be different than a simple one hand, and if you have a bunch of dunk packages equipped, you don't know which one you're going to get. So I like that they're expanding it. I don't see anything about this when it comes to alley-oops, but I'm going to assume they're going to expand the alley-oops as well. Hopefully they make them more consistent and there's more control on what type of alley-oops you're able to do, especially when it comes to self alley-oops, because they weren't the most consistent at times. So you could be on a breakaway by yourself and you would still somehow attempt to throw a lob to your teammate that's trailing you 30 feet away. Hopefully that's a lot more consistent. That could be a bit frustrating at times. It didn't really bother me too much because usually when you're doing well enough to throw a self alley-oop, you're beating the other team pretty well. So while it isn't a big issue, you would like that to be more consistent, and hopefully with them expanding the dunk meter, these same rules will apply to the alley-oops. Our last bullet point on slash will be that strength's going to be a bit more important this year because they mentioned, getting Giannis and Zion-like animations for having more strength. And I think this will be a good idea because you'll have more people, actually try to implement strength in their builds, because I know I haven't done it in the last 4 some odd years when it came to making my builds. Even on next gen, when my builds are able to slash a lot more effectively. And I think this would be great for preventing big men from getting interrupted from their dunks when they're 7 feet tall and they got a 6'3" guard trying to block their shot, and they get an animation because they decide to jump, even though it's a complete mismatch. It'll be great for you being able to implement or encourage some bully ball in the game. I like it. I think it's a good addition. Maybe I'll consider adding strength. I probably won't still, but it will be beneficial for people, to have some strength in slashing, and they're just not big, stop focused on, rebounding and post scoring. I think that would be good for, increasing some more diversity when it comes to the builds. And we have saved shooting for last, but they're going to be quote unquote overhauling shooting by incorporating more shooting stats when it comes to jump shots this year. And the first thing that's obvious will be, attributes and a height limiting the jump shots and whatever signature jump shot you can select. So you want to use Steph Curry or Trae Young, Steve Nash's jump shots. You have to be under 6'5", have a high enough 3-point rating. That makes sense. But the things that are more interesting will be how shot speed, release height, defensive immunity, and of course timing impact will impact your jump shot this year. And we'll go into those 4 categories separately right now. Now, all 4 of these categories are pretty obvious and self-explanatory. For example, shot speed is just how quickly the shot gets to its ideal release point. Release height is how high the shot is released. Defensive immunity is how effective the shot is against offensive contests. I'll assume some late closes will be involved with this as well. Timing impact, this suggests the shot windows to reward good timing at the cost of an increased penalty for bad timing. At first, it will be pretty interesting to see how they balance out these jump shots, but I know eventually it's going to be everyone using these same few amount of jumpers because they work the best. But it will be fun to experiment with race within the first couple weeks, first month of the game. Just get in the lab, tinker with your jump shot, see what you can improve about it, see what makes it the best for your player to use, and then going on from there. I know it's going to be everyone use the same signatures after the first month or so when everyone has their characters grinded out. But it'll be fun at first. The last thing they mentioned when it came to shooting is just about the shot meter. and delaying the green animations. They added new shot meters from like 17, 18, 19. I don't really care because I'm turning it off, once my characters grind it out. And the delayed greens, I guess, is to keep people from cherry picking as much, to keep people, honest on defense a bit more, or just waiting for the board a bit more. I don't see how it will fix it, but we did see this in 2K15 and 16 when it was later in the game. You wouldn't know what the release was until, once the ball hit the rim. It didn't matter though back then because you could still miss a green release, but they are going to be delaying the greens this year. So we'll just see how it works in our practice. It'll be alright, I guess, but I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. But it's whatever. Out the way, ladies and gentlemen, y'all stay safe. I'm out.